Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
After Zoomies at the dog park, it's time for Drive Up at Target. In goes a big bag of kibble and one squeaky chicken toy for the good boy. Drive Up that's ready when you are. Only in the Target app. Just tap Target.
Not all meals are created equal. For instance, breakfast has the spicy egg McMuffin for a limited time, and lunch doesn't. McDonald's breakfast comes first. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and you can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/@RamsUpPodcast. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined often by my football guru, Ian, along with a bunch of other friends of the show on occasion. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome back, everybody. A little bit of a slow news week so far as the Rams enter Phase 2, as Sean McVay calls it, Phase 2 of training camp. I'm going to have some fun this episode. I'm going to talk about my fearsome four observations for each position group thus far, how I feel about each of these groups, questions I might have about them, that sort of thing. And then Ian and I will be back hopefully Wednesday night, and we'll get you caught up even more on what's going on with the Rams at training camp. Hey, it is episode 789 on the podcast, and number 89s that have played for the Rams. I've already talked about the great returner, wide receiver Ron Brown, wide receiver Dane Looker. I'm going to talk about probably the greatest number 89 that has ever played for the Rams, and that, of course, is Fred Dreyer. He came out of San Diego State. One of his teammates there, by the way, was Carl Weathers, who went on to play Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. So he comes out of San Diego State, drafted in the first round of the 1969 draft by the Giants, played there 3 years, had some run-ins with management. They traded him to the Patriots. The Patriots had issues as well, couldn't get him signed, and they traded him to the Rams. And one of the draft picks the Rams sent to New England ended up being Sam Bam Cunningham, the great running back out of USC. So on to the Rams, 10 years with the Rams from 1972 to 1981. Finished his Rams career with 74 sacks, had 2 safeties in one game against the Packers. He was All-Pro in 1974, the year he led the league in sacks, and Pro Bowler in 1975, paired up with Jack Youngblood. What a scary combo that was. 2 Cowboys playing football, basically, is what it was for our Los Angeles Rams. Man, he was something else. And then he went on to have a pretty good career in Hollywood. His big claim to fame was the TV series Hunter. So Fred Dreyer, my number 89 for the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to get through a couple of news items, and the one thing I wanted to talk about is the 49ers. Now, I think it was about a week ago, they signed Quintez Cephas, the wide receiver that the Rams had cut, and that was due to a banged-up wide receiver group, obviously. And then Juwan Jennings went down with a calf injury, but cornerback Renardo Green goes down with a hamstring injury. So they actually cut Cephas and added Eli Apple, the former first-round cornerback with the Giants, and we went up against him when he was with the Bengals. So a lot of churn on the 49er roster. Their secondary and their wide receiver group having some issues. They'll get it squared away, though. Pro Football Network came out with their player rankings, and they had Jared Verse as the 9th best player, period. The 9th best player in the league, right behind Jamar Chase. Now, I love Jared Verse, and I'm not feeling it quite yet as the 9th best player in the league. But hey, Pro Football Network's credible. I think they may have messed up here, but hey, we'll take it. Puka came in at number 43 and Kobe Turner number 50, by the way. And then Joseph Acosta of SB Nation, he ranked the 6 teams with the best young roster core, and the Rams came in at number 4, which is not really surprising when you think about it. Steve Avila, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, Cam Kinchins, all these guys. I should have looked to see who was ahead of them. I'm surprised the Rams weren't higher. But coming in at number 4, not a bad showing at all if you care about SB Nation's rankings on these matters. So what are my fearsome 4 observations, notes, questions about each position group? And this was challenging. It really was. And some of these things are items we've talked about in the past, but I thought it'd be a good time to kind of just wrap our arms around how we're feeling about each of these position groups, how I'm feeling about them, and questions I may have. And for special teams, my first observation is this could be a pretty rock solid group, and that's saying something considering where they were 2 years ago. I mean, our long snapper, our punter, our kicker are all, by the end of last year, felt really comfortable with them. Now, hopefully that continues. Our return game should be good as well. And that's my second observation. This Britton Covey edition is really intriguing with the new rules. We go out and get a guy that, did a really good job when he was with the Eagles, and he got hurt. Now he's back. Could be really exciting. I wonder if we see him in the preseason. I don't think we will. I think there's another guy. I think we'll see. I'll talk about that in a minute. And the third observation is, we have to see how the Rams are adapting to, these additional tweaks to the kickoff rules. And we may not see it in the preseason. They may keep under wraps what they want to do. If there's anything special going on, they may save it for those joint practices, 2 teams that they, they don't see, 3 teams in the preseason game, 3 teams they don't play during the regular season, obviously. And then the Chargers and Cowboys, 2 teams that they have joint practices with and do not play. So, they can wink, wink, nod, nod. Hey, let's practice some of our approaches here and just keep it under wraps. So what's my fourth observation is, Jordan Whittington can return kicks, and we know Britton Covey and Xavier Smith can. And we've been talking about Jarquez Hunter and his explosiveness, and I was wondering, does he have return abilities? And I went and looked in 2021, his freshman year, he had 10 kickoff returns for 195 yards. 2022, 14 returns for 302 yards. And I'm assuming by then, by his junior year, he had climbed the depth chart and was at running back and was not returning kicks anymore. So he ends his Auburn career with 25 kickoff returns, 0 punt returns. So keep an eye on that. Maybe he'll get a shot, if not in the regular season, the preseason, and see what he can bring to the table in the return game. That'd be, he's probably not going to play, even though, the Rams drafted him. They want an explosive running back. They want a guy that can, blast off 40, 50-yard runs, something that was missing. That still doesn't mean Sean McVay is going to get him any snaps. Unfortunately, that's how it rolls with this offense. I hope he does, but if he doesn't, hey, let's see what he can do in the return game because he's going to be on the roster. Quarterbacks, what are my observations? Fearsome 4 observations. Not many teams can feel better about our starting quarterback. which leads me to, especially in the NFC, which leads me to my second item. We got to feel a little bit concerned about Stafford getting a little creaky. Last year it was the shoulder. This year it's the back. And, as you get older, those things happen. You're a professional athlete, just things that have to be managed, unfortunately. So something to keep an eye on. Not trying to be a negative Nancy here. It's just the reality. Which brings me to the third point. Not many teams can feel better about their number 2 quarterback as well. Say what you want about Jimmy G, has won a lot of games at the NFL, in the NFL, a lot of playoff games too. So not a bad dude to have as your backup. And speaking of dudes, my fourth point, is Stetson Bennett a dude? I think we had all written this guy off, right? And he's put on some weight, gotten a little stronger. And all reports are he's looking pretty darn good. And I don't think he's a long-term answer, but maybe he does have a future in this league somewhere, somehow. The running back situation, my first observation is I'm going to talk about Kyren's contract negotiations. And this is my position. This is what I want, Kyren. We're going to give you a pretty much full load through 6 games, 0 fumbles. We'll talk contract. Until then, sorry, not talking. And my second observation, we feel pretty good about our top 3 guys. I feel pretty good about our top 6 guys. Kyren, we know what he brings to the table. Blake Corum showing some explosiveness, and we saw enough of him last year. And Jarquez Hunter, speed to burn and a really tough runner. I'm really hopeful that that's going to be a special group. And then you got Ronnie Rivers. We always forget about him. He has performed when asked. And Jordan Waters. I'm telling you, I think he's going to make the preseason fun. And then Cody Schrader, a guy who led the SEC in rushing. So he's our 6th guy, or is it Waters? Maybe flip them. I don't know what the pecking order is. Have it any way you want. The bottom line is I think Waters and Schrader actually could be really fun watches in the preseason. And the third observation, I already mentioned it, Jarquez Hunter delivering the speed as promised. So that's good. That's a good deal. Not going to matter if he doesn't get snaps. And then the fourth thing, I think we're going to be really entertained by our running backs. Kyren is so much fun to watch, flips into the end zone. Blake Corum, I think he's got similar ability, and I think he's got a little bit more breakaway ability than Kyren. And then Hunter, man, again, got to get the snaps, but he could be really entertaining to watch these running backs play. And even in the preseason, where Rivers might be, I'm sorry, Ronnie, you might be the most boring of the group, but steady and reliable. And then Jordan Waters and Cody Schrader. Wide receiver group, another really deep and talented group. Obviously, that's my first observation. My second observation is maybe more versatile than we've had in the past. We got Puka, the fullback, playing wide receiver. We got Devontae Adams, your classic X receiver. You got Tutu Atwell, speed to burn. You got Jordan Whittington, who's a little bit of a few things. Good blocker, good with the ball in his hands, good route runner, tough as nails. And then you got Mumfield coming out of nowhere. He could be really fun to watch as well. Just a different mix of wide receivers than we've had in the past, I think, instead of a bunch of clones. And the third question I have is how are snap counts going to get divvied up here? It's you're kind of torn. I talked about this with Ian. We want to see Atwell. Atwell, when he's targeted, he is so productive. We want to see Whittington too. And my idea is, and maybe Sean McVay has hinted at this, spell these guys, give Nakua a breather for a series or 2. Get Whittington and Atwell out there. Get Mumfield out there. Keep these guys fresh. And even Devontae getting up there in years. Keep these guys fresh. Keep them out of harm's way a little bit, especially Nakua. He plays with such reckless abandon. It maybe needs to be protected from himself a little bit.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A new kind of flavorless sparkling water. The kind made with real fruit juice, a pinch of Sicilian salt, and the sparkle of the Italian sun. With no added sugar and just 10 or less calories per can, enjoy. With love, from Italy. By San Pellegrino Ciao now.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Welcome aboard to Carefree Boating. Here, we don't worry about the what-ifs, because we explore with Progressive Boat Insurance for as little as $100 per year for a basic liability policy. Progressive also offers a variety of other coverages and can help you cover repair costs when you need it. And with discounts like multi-policy, safety courses, responsible driver, and more, your mind can really float free. Cruise on over to Progressive.com to get a quote today and see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Rate and discounts not available in all states or situations.
So good, so good, so good.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. And that means thousands of can't-miss deals just in time for summer.
The denim section is unreal.
Why do I rack? All the dresses.
I always find something amazing.
Plus, buy it online and pick it up in-store the same day for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
I get so many headaches every month.
It could be chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those who have 14 or fewer headache days a month. Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor. Visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Visit Blinds.com now for up to 45% off site-wide, plus a professional measure at no cost. Rules and restrictions apply.
And one of the solutions is to get guys like Jordan Whittington and Mumfield out there. And my fourth observation, man, I just got this sneaky suspicion Mumfield is a big time 7th round steal. We'll have to see. The tight end group, first observation is are we really going to go 12 personnel? I'll leave it at that. You know, it seems like we've been talking about this for 2 years, and Sean, it's time. And then my second question is, Terrence Ferguson is going to supplant Tyler Higbee at some point in 11 personnel. Is he going to be our single tight end out there? And obviously he is. The question is when. And, you know, Tyler Higbee is a guy that could use some breathers at this point in his career. So it's just a matter. I'm just really curious to see when this transition takes hold, if Ferguson is the real deal. Kind of making an assumption here. And then the third question here really is, how does Colby Parkinson fit in? If they are going 12 personnel, I think Colby could have a role there, maybe Parkinson and Higbee, although Ferguson in the 12 personnel is more of the play action threat. So, you know, but if you're just trying to run the ball, if that's the emphasis, maybe Higbee and Parkinson are the 12 personnel tight ends. And then fourth is, you know, poor Davis Allen, because I think he's good enough to be a number 2 tight end on some teams, but with this unit as good as it is, he's probably going to be an afterthought. You know, I think he's a guy that maybe struggles in the blocking game, but he's pretty good at hitting the seams. Good receiver. We've seen a little bit of that, but he's probably going to be the odd man out. Really, he'll be very fortunate to get significant snaps. I have a feeling. The offensive line, my first observation is, with the Lyric, DJ, and Warren McClendon, I'm feeling better about our left tackle situation. I think we're going to be okay one way or another. My second observation is, hey, Coleman Shelton better deliver. They handed him that job. Him and another guy I'm going to talk about here in a minute have a lot of pressure on them to get it done. Coleman Shelton better deliver. It's going to be a bad look for this front office if he struggles. And the third observation is a question. How many offensive linemen do they keep? And I think this is where the dominoes start to fall. The two position groups that they have some flexibility as far as the numbers game, offensive line and secondary. If they can get away with 9 offensive linemen, which I think is going to be the number, it gives them the ability to carry an extra guy with another group. But with this Lyric Jackson situation, maybe they have to carry 10. So we'll see. I have no problem with 10. I'd much rather have I just think I'm still traumatized from a few years back. We all remember what happened when we were going through offensive linemen like we've never seen before. And the fourth observation is, Bo Limmer really going to sit all year? They hand the job to Shelton, and, I know he had his bad moments, but it's really going to be a bummer if he just sits all year. I'm sure they'll get him in some special teams packages, but I'm not wishing injury on anybody, but I hope Bo Limmer get some opportunities to continue his development rather than be a backup all year. Okay, on to the defense, defensive line. My biggest question here is, who's the sixth guy? Is it Laurel Murchison? Is it Deshaun Johnson? Is it one of the undrafted rookies, Bill Norton, DeJohn Terry? Because I think the first 5 spots are taken. My second observation, I talked about the pressure being on Coleman Shelton. If our run defense does not improve, that's going to reflect poorly on Poona Ford. So a lot of pressure on him. My third observation is, Poona Ford is going to have a domino effect on Kobe Turner, I think. Kobe was asked to do some things that aren't necessarily he's best suited for. Got double teamed a lot because of it. And the presence of Poona Ford could result in a really big year for Kobe Turner. Set Kobe free. That's what I'm getting at. And then another observation here, the fourth thing here on the defensive line, Tyler Davis listed as a defensive end, Hamilton as a defensive tackle. And just an observation, I think that's how it's going to play out. Hamilton and Poona. Hamilton will be spelling Poona. And if one of those undrafted rookies, the big dudes, Norton and DeJohn Terry, one of them make it, they'll have a role there on the interior as well. I mean, how many of these guys are going to be active on game day? That's another question. But and then you'll see Tyler Davis. I would think that he's going to be a step ahead of Deshaun Johnson in the pecking order here, fighting for a roster spot. So Mr. Irrelevant could be, he could end up on the practice squad. I don't want to make predictions like that because Deshaun actually played really good at the end of the year, if you remember that. Outside linebacker, my first question is, who's the third guy up? Is it Brandon Jackson or Josiah Stewart? We won't know till opening day. One of those guys is going to have to contribute because my second observation here, it's not going to be Nick Hampton. Nick Hampton's going to be a key special teams guy. I think Jackson and Stewart, hopefully one of them step up. Michael Hoyt is gone, and we don't have a proven third guy. We really don't. So Hampton's going to be the special teams guy, and going kind of circling back to my first one here again, who's the number 3 guy, Stewart or Jackson? Hopefully one of them answers the bell. And then my third, I got a question here. We assume Jared Verse is going to have a monster year, and I think, the Poona Ford edition is going to help him as well. But hopefully, I'm hoping he gets off to a really good start as far as finishing the job in the sack department. I think it'd be big for him. He really struggled really for most of the year getting quarterbacks on the ground and running backs as well, tackles for a loss. And I'd like to see that, fixed early on could set the tone for the whole year. And then the fourth observation, Byron Young is just getting overlooked here because of Braden Fisk. Haven't talked about Braden Fisk at all here. Because of Braden Fisk, Poona Ford, Kobe Turner, and Jared Verse, watch out for Byron Young. I think he might be seething a little bit. Hey, I'm pretty darn good too. Watch this. Inside linebacker, my first observation, I hate to throw shade on Troy Reader, and I really don't like the some of the comments on the YouTube channel. Hey, have at it. But, people pick on him way too much. I mean, let's call him what he is, a decent football player with limitations that helped us win a Super Bowl. Can we just say that about Troy Reader? That said, I don't know where he fits anymore. It ties into my second observation. Sean Dolak appears to be the real deal. I think it's Dolak or Reader, and my money's on Dolak. And Dolak is a guy who you might not even realize is a football player until the whistles blow, till the ball snapped, and then watch out. The ball carrier is going to get tackled. That's what Sean Dolak does. And then the third observation, it looks like Landman, he's locked it down. I was a little skeptical when they signed him. I was like, another one of these ho-hum linebackers. But I think he's exactly what this team needs, and he's wearing the green dot. Perfect. And he's going to be running this defense, I think, early on. And then the fourth thing is, there's Pooh Paul waiting in the wings. He's dealing with a calf injury. So, it may slow his development a little bit. Someone pointed out that, I think it was my special assistant, said that those calf injuries can be concerning because they can actually lead to Achilles injuries, and we don't want any of that. So take your time, Pooh, getting back, because my thought on Pooh was he'd eventually, he might contribute midseason, maybe get in on special teams early on, eventually be, where those third and long linebackers come in for coverage purposes, but can still get a ball carrier on the ground if it's a draw, that type of thing. There's a future for Pooh Paul on this team, but there's no urgency. So he'll be waiting in the wings. Eventually, he'll get on the field, and we'll see what he has. Might not be anytime soon. And once the season starts, he'll be a guy that may not be active early on, I have a feeling, but we'll have to see. Unless he just, blows up and just wows this coaching staff, which may already be happening. But until we, we don't have eyes on those. We have to see how those joint practices go down and how guys like Dolak and Pooh Paul hold up in those situations. Now, I originally separated cornerback and safety, and I'm going to combine them. Otherwise, I'll just be repeating myself. My first observation is Emmanuel Forbes a backup? I was reading an article, and someone wrote, hey, the starting jobs are up for grabs. I was like, well, wait a second, are they? They should be. I go back to the Coleman Shelton Bo Limmer situation. But, that may be the case. Forbes could supplant Darius Williams. Is that possible? Entirely so. And maybe, you look at Kobe Durant, another guy that's overlooked. But the second observation I wanted to say about this group here is, you get down to the fifth or sixth cornerbacks, pretty good group. It really is. Not so much safeties. I think safeties were top end a little bit better, perhaps. Kitchens, Curl, and McCullough. I could be wrong on that. Quentin Lake, I still don't know what to do with him. But, I think guys like A.J. Green, Charles Woods, Josh Wallace, if those are your fourth, fifth, and sixth guys. But really, let's talk about our top four here. This will be my second observation. I'm all over the place here, and I apologize. But our top four guys, if our top four guys are Akilla Witherspoon, Darius Williams, Kobe Durant, and Emmanuel Forbes, not too bad. If you compare our top two to the top two cornerbacks across the league, we're not looking pretty. But if you go four deep, not too bad compared to what the 49ers have, for example, or even the Seahawks. You get into that fourth or fifth defensive back, we're looking pretty decent. Seahawks actually have a really good cornerback group, so maybe I shouldn't have said that. The third observation, Quentin Lake is another pawn in the 53-man roster situation, they could carry 3 safeties plus Quentin Lake. They could really get away with that. I don't know that they will, but if they could do that and then carry 5 cornerbacks plus Lake, 9 defensive backs, they've carried 10. I think they've carried 11 in years past. But if they could get away with 9, I think they're going to carry 10, but it does potentially give them the presence of Quentin Lake gives them a lot of flexibility, because Quentin Lake could be your nickel back, but if something drastic happens, can slide back and play safety. You don't miss a beat, really. So we'll have to see how that works out. But bottom line is Quentin Lake is a very important player in the grand scheme of things. And my last observation, can we start calling Cam Kinchens Big Play Kinchens? I kind of like that. It's interesting to watch this guy over the past season. I think he struggled at times, but does he have a penchant for big-time plays? And so does Jalen McCullough, actually. We got some safeties that can make really big-time plays. Now, we didn't see that from Cameron Curl, unfortunately, but Kinchens and McCullough, we have some big play guys back there. And, stating the obvious for us Ram fans, but the pass rush is going to make this secondary so good, especially the safeties. This pass rush is going to give Cam Kinchens and Jalen McCullough a bunch of opportunities to make really big plays. And I'm going to have a last comment on the secondary, specifically about Cam Curl. And let's see if I can state this without throwing shade on him, because I think he's a decent player. I'm certainly not disappointed with the acquisition of Cam Curl last year, but we remember him being ranked pretty highly as far as free agents go. And then the Rams signed him, and we all thought, what a great deal. Maybe it was the right deal. Maybe it was the deal that Cam Curl deserved, because he's played pretty good. I don't think he's played to the level that a lot of the experts and analysts thought he was. But again, not disappointed in his play. I think the Rams are getting their money's worth. It was not necessarily a great deal for the Rams. Team-friendly deal, obviously, but it was probably appropriate. And I have a feeling Cam Curl would agree with that too. So maybe, the free agent market dictated correctly where Cam Curl should go and what contract he should get. And he's a solid guy, going to be a big part of this defense. But Curl, Kinchens, and McCullough, I really like that group. Really like those 3 guys. And I've been talking about Tanner Engel and Nate Valcarcel possibly be making this team as a 4th or whatever 5th safety, depending on how you list Quentin Lake. But that may not be the case. They may carry the extra cornerbacks instead and leverage the presence of Quentin Lake. That's what I'm thinking. So those are my Fearsome Four observations all over the place. I know. That's a lot to get out in one episode. Ian and I will be back hopefully Wednesday night, and we'll get you caught up on all the news coming out of Rams Camp Phase 2 2025 out here from Rams Up. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.